Picture this, a baby lying in the grass, completely helpless, can't walk, can't talk, can't fight back, can barely even lift its own head, and it's screaming, loud, piercing, the kind of sound that cuts through everything, through trees, through wind, through the thick silence of a forest. A sound that, logically, should be the perfect dinner bell for every predator within half a mile. A wolf could hear that cry from 2 kilometers away. A leopard could smell the infant's scent on the breeze before it even sees it. An eagle could spot it from the sky with vision 8 times sharper than yours. And yet, they don't come. Almost never. Why? This is one of those questions that sounds simple on the surface, but the deeper you go, the stranger and more fascinating it gets. Because the answer isn't just one thing. It's never just one thing. It's a stack of biological, evolutionary, and psychological layers, each one built on top of the other over millions of years. And together, they form an invisible wall of protection around one of the most vulnerable creatures on Earth. Let's go through it. Layer 1. The sound itself is a warning signal. You might think a crying baby is an invitation. It's not. It's the opposite. To a predator, loud, unexpected noise from an unfamiliar source is a red flag, not a dinner bell. A red flag. Predators survive by being precise, calculated. They don't charge blindly toward unknown sounds. They freeze. They assess. They ask, instinctively, what is making that noise, and is engaging with it worth the risk? A crying baby produces a sound that doesn't match any prey animal in the predator's mental library. A deer doesn't sound like that. A rabbit doesn't sound like that. Even other primate infants don't make exactly that sound. It's unfamiliar. And in the wild, unfamiliar means dangerous until proven otherwise. Researchers studying predator behavior have repeatedly documented this. Animals avoid novel stimuli. They approach what they know. They retreat from what they don't. A screaming human infant, biologically, is something they don't. Layer 2. That cry doesn't come alone. Here's what movies always get wrong. They show the lone baby, the abandoned infant, the child completely isolated from every other human being. That is not how humans exist in nature. We are a group species, one of the most intensely social mammals on the planet. We evolved in bands, in tribes, in clusters of dozens of individuals who ate together, slept together, and defended each other together. A crying baby is not a signal of isolation. It is a signal of group presence. Every predator that has ever tangled with a group of humans, especially humans defending a vulnerable young, has learned something important. The group responds, loudly, quickly, collectively. The same instinct that tells a predator not to attack a wildebeest calf in the center of a herd applies here. You don't go for the one that's going to bring the rest of them down on you. And a screaming baby brings the rest of them, every time. Layer 3. The deepest layer. The one that runs in the blood. Humans have been hunting large predators for somewhere around 2 million years. We didn't just compete with apex predators, we systematically eliminated them. Wolves, lions, cave bears, saber-toothed cats. We hunted them, trapped them, poisoned them, drove them out of entire continents. The ones that survived were the careful ones, the ones that kept their distance, the ones whose instincts said, avoid humans. All humans, including the small ones, including the loud ones, including the ones that look the most defenseless. Because here's what every large predator learned across thousands of generations. The small, helpless-looking human is never actually alone. And where there are humans, there are consequences. That lesson got written into DNA. It became instinct. It became the inherited caution that every large predator carries today without knowing why. So when a lioness hears a baby cry somewhere in the grass, something ancient in her nervous system fires. Not hunger, not curiosity, but a quiet, deep, evolutionary warning. Don't. Layer 4. The math of survival. Predators are not reckless. This is critical to understand. Every apex predator in the world is one serious injury away from starvation. A broken tooth, a torn muscle, a deep wound that won't heal. Any of these can mean death. Slow, painful, certain death for an animal that cannot afford to stop hunting even for a week. So every engagement is a calculation. What is the caloric value of this target? What is the risk of injury? Is this prey familiar enough that I know exactly what it will do? A crying baby fails this calculation completely. Unknown behavior, unknown risk, unknown group size nearby, unknown human response time. The predator doesn't know if that baby is alone or if there are 15 humans 20 meters away about to explode out of the brush with fire and weapons and screaming of their own. The uncertainty alone is enough to walk away. When easier, safer, familiar prey exists, and it almost always does, the strange, screaming primate infant does not make the list. Now, let's be honest, because this would be incomplete without it. Attacks do happen. Rarely, but they happen. And when they do, the pattern is almost always the same. A predator that is starving. A predator whose habitat has been destroyed. A predator that has been fed by humans so many times that it has lost its inherited fear of us. These are the exceptions. Animals operating outside the normal calculation because their circumstances have become desperate enough to override instinct. Every documented case of a large predator taking a human infant follows this pattern. Something broke. The ecosystem was damaged. The animal was desperate. The invisible rules got suspended by extraordinary circumstances. Which tells you something important. The rules are real. They hold almost universally when the world is intact. The final layer. The one that changes how you see everything. A crying baby is not just protected by group behavior, by predator caution, by evolutionary fear. It is protected by something even older than all of that. The human infant cry is one of the most acoustically potent sounds produced by any mammal on Earth. It triggers responses not just in human parents, but across species. Studies have shown that the distress calls of mammal infants, regardless of species, share acoustic properties that activate threat assessment responses in other animals too. It's not just humans who respond to a crying baby with heightened alertness. Other animals in the area respond as well. The crying infant doesn't just call its own parents. It changes the entire acoustic and behavioral environment around it. Other animals go quiet. Other animals become alert. The whole forest, in a sense, pays attention. A predator moving toward that sound is moving into a zone of heightened awareness, moving toward every ear in the vicinity already pointed in that direction. That's not a hunting advantage. That's a trap. So the next time you hear a baby crying, in the middle of the night or somewhere out in the open, in a place that feels exposed and vulnerable, know this. That sound is not weakness. That sound is 2 million years of human survival compressed into a single cry. It carries the memory of every ancestor who made it and lived, every group that responded and protected, every predator that heard it and turned away. The most defenseless-looking thing in the animal kingdom is wrapped in one of the most sophisticated protective systems evolution ever built. Not armor, not claws, not speed, just that sound, and everything it brings with it.